Okay, and now we're recording. Hello, everyone. Today I have with me Ali. I got to know Ali through the Women in Hotels Network, which has been absolutely fantastic. And we're going to get to know a little bit more about her today. I've had the chance to get to know her over the last couple of weeks, and she has been very inspiring for me. And definitely follow her on LinkedIn because she's doing some really interesting stuff on there too. So, Ali, thank you so much for being here today. And yeah, let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yes. So hi. Thanks for this conversation. Really brilliant. Love what you're doing, and always support empowerment and women causes. So yeah, at the beginning, I grew up in Hong Kong for 20 years, and Hong Kong is dazzling with stunning hotels and commerce. And so I guess I was quite fortunate that from a young age, I was very attracted to this glamorous world of hotels and travel. The hotels there are exceptional service, terrific service, stunning product. And yeah, I'm fortunate that I got to travel around a lot to different Asia venues. Just my dad was in the University of Hong Kong, so it just came with his sort of expat package to have us go to all these fancy hotels. So yeah, always been attracted to it. At school, we did a project on the Peninsula, Hong Kong, and that was like my biggest certainty tick about I've got to pursue this career.
Okay. Yeah, it's I guess it was somehow similar for me. Like, when you have that expat life when you're growing up, you just get exposed to, the travel, the moving around, access to hotels and so on and so forth. And it just takes you off. And yeah, the Peninsula Hotel in Hong Kong is definitely one of the iconic ones. So if there's one property that's going to make you sure that you want to work in hospitality, that's definitely the one to start with.
Yeah, yeah, it could all be like that. Yeah.
And then, so once you knew exactly what we were going to do, how did you make that a reality for yourself?
Yeah. So I was always attracted to business. I think also because of the commerce component in Hong Kong, and so I did more of like a broad business management education in university. But then I knew I needed to get the experience filtered in of hospitality, so I started working at some Hiltons in summer jobs, and I got very attracted to the idea, therefore, of getting on a graduate fast track program afterwards. So in Hilton, I aspired for their fast track program. It's called the Elevator.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still running, which
Yeah.
is brilliant that they invest in talent like that. You get like sort of 20 of you every year. And then, they just control your life for 2 years. You hope for exotic places, like Maldives and France, and I got sent to Romania and Ireland. It's I joke and I laugh, but and so many stories I could tell you now are over wine. But yeah, so then that was it. That was sort of firmly landing from a graduate program. That's where it all began.
Yeah, no, those graduate programs are great. And, I had them when I was coming out of university. And I always say that to anyone graduating now, like, just start with one of those graduate programs. They're excellent. They're well curated. They know exactly what they're doing with it. And then you just get that wide exposure and wide experience, especially if you're not quite sure which part of hospitality you want to work with. And yeah, they make sure they take good care of you. So I do hope that these programs are still going to be available in this post-pandemic world, or that eventually it will come back.
Totally. Like you said, I don't want to put a negative spin on this conversation, but I have friends that are in that sort of same position I was, and I know unfortunately a few have been paused at the moment, but let's just hope they get restarted now. But yeah,
it will come back. And then from after your 2-year program at Hilton, did you stay at Hilton or did you move on to something else?
So the great thing about the program is they robustly assess you, moving through every department every 3 months, housekeeping, food and beverage, reservations and everything. So it was quite interesting actually, because you're supposed to become a general manager at the end of it. That's the sort of fast track vision. However, for me, is we assessed me heavily, and we realized I was strong in revenue and sales and marketing. So fortunately, I had a good sponsor there, and he said, well, as long as she can come into be something senior in Hilton head office, why do we need to limit this to just operational roles? So very fortunately, I could come in, and I started my career working in an area actually relevant to you at the moment, sort of more the hotel analysis side, business intelligence. And that was just brilliant to have market and yield premium background, and the importance of competitor and consumer knowledge.
Yeah, data has always been attractive to me as well. Like I did all the operationals bit, but then I kept coming back to numbers and data,
Yes.
Whether it was on property, or then obviously choosing STR was definitely a big decision factor there.
I think data is king. It's the objective grounding for everything I do. I think it takes emotion out of a lot of controversial situations, because it just presents a common fact base, and gives you a guiding light. So but to answer your question, sorry, I stayed at Hilton for quite a while, in their head office in Watford.
Yeah.
Then I went to other hotel chains. So I went to do the merger between what was called Premier Lodge and Travel Inn at the time. So we did Premier Inn, which is a brilliant brand as well, and Intercontinental Hotels Group. So yeah, all in this sort of, at the time, revenue management, sales, marketing, customer. That's been always the foundation of my expertise.
And then I recall that you also moved out of hotels, right? And you worked on some non-hotel, but still within hospitality?
Yeah. So I at one point went to work for Royal Mail Group, and more on the sort of post office side there, so a sort of an chapter in retail. And the reason at that time was, well, firstly, you think, is it good to diversify here rather than just try one route? And at that time, I was very into consumer insight, competitor market intelligence. So I tried to research where in the UK they had like the best team in this area, because I'm such a learning geek. I wanted to go where the best skill set was in this area, which at the time Royal Mail Group had a wonderful team of 85 people there. And so I went under that umbrella for a few years, and it was okay, but it wasn't okay as well. I couldn't really get into the sexiness of packages or something. So yeah, that was a diversion. But then, more recently, I've done what I would call hospitality plus, or more leisure. I've worked at Fitness First, one of the leading health clubs. I was their chief commercial officer, so looking after sales, marketing, sort of growth, and then I worked in luxury retirement, which is also all about the sort of end-to-end customer journey, satisfaction, optimizing acquisition, service, and loyalty. So yeah, I think I'm quite fortunate, I think, for having a holistic multi-sector background. You know how to transform growth, but I think my heart will always be in hospitality leisure, just as a preference.
Yeah. And it's interesting when you refer to commercial, you talk about it as sales, marketing, and revenue growth. And it's interesting that you say this, because Kim, who I spoke to a couple of weeks ago, said exactly the same thing, and that it's basically a function of all of these three areas, particularly within hospitality, right? So sales, marketing, and revenue management coming together to become part of that sort of commercial role. But it is also quite, I would say, probably a bit more recent. How was that journey for you coming into that position?
Yeah, so I mean, I specifically had chosen a commercial title versus, say, a CMO or a CSO. It was more for me about, chief commercial officer, chief growth officer, as it's sort of the second favorite of mine. And yeah, that is because, like my LinkedIn at the moment, if I say I'm a commercial expert, I usually put in brackets, that means sales, marketing, revenue, brand, even sometimes in their distribution. So people know it's about, just where is the growth coming from? So there needs to be an integral unity happening from the end-to-end customer funnel here. And, I've experienced so many situations where it's going wrong because you've got different silo teams and they're being targeted on silo metrics. So then you've got this tension between sales saying to marketing, well, you don't give me enough leads, and then marketing going to sales, well, you're not doing anything with our leads. So for me, it's always right, one team, common metrics, look at it all together, like the customer doesn't think of it as disparate parts. So I think, sorry, to answer your question, is through my background, which always started from data and research, customer centricity, then you add into it how to market well to get the customers in the first place, and then sort of convert sales. Just kept knowing like it was this just commercial vein that I wanted to champion, and I worked my way up. I'm just complete workaholic, as I'm sure you are, and getting a position like that, and in industries where the odds against women are terrible, like 1.2%, senior women. So that also led me to win the Business Woman of the Year award, and enjoy that sort of role.
Fantastic. And just kind of picking up on that odds against the women, did you come across any hurdles as you went along in your career because you were a woman, or just generally for any other reasons, or you've had smooth sailing and you've had support and it all kind of fell into place as you went along?
No, I mean I am such an honest, open person, so we could take this bit for 5 hours, and I think we would need wine.
Let's do the high level.
High level sort of censored version here is I've experienced terrible things, terrible bosses, terrible narcissists, terrible sexist bullying. I've seen things, and I published this article that you kindly have heard me talk about for International Women's Day, about 8 themes of what I'd wish I'd known 20 years ago, and some related to my experience from, I think, being in a non-ideal position from a woman point of view, but also, not just slamming men at all. It was also championing men sometimes that have supported you. And, one of the findings was women can be the worst to women. So yes, now I've made it, my life's philosophy to championing, empowering women and give people the opportunity to rise and thrive. And I think the world is definitely changing, which is, fantastic, but we still got a long way to go.
Yeah. And hopefully this is one step in the right direction of inspiring one another, because as we've said before, empowered women empower women. So hopefully this is always, there's always work to be done. But I think as long as we support one another, we'll definitely get through it. I think what we'll do is maybe link this post to that article of the 8 themes. But if we were to choose one of your 8 themes, could you expand on one of them?
So the one I think is quite revolutionary is the pie model. So this is about how you thrive in your career success. And the research done by MIT would say that PI, which stands for performance, image, and exposure, that your performance is actually only 10% of your success. So how well technically you are and everything is just 10%. 30% is actually more your image, how people perceive you, how you come across, what they think about you when you leave the room. And 60% is exposure. So I said this was quite a revolution for me. I can't remember when the exact light went off in my mind, 10, 15 years ago. So I'd spent my whole life just working hard. I mean, I still always do, but thought merit was given just on credibility, whereas I also learned, no, you need to make this happen by getting on people's radars. You know, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to attend networking events. You've got to volunteer for projects to get your boss's boss to know you and other people. And, you know, I think that's just still so relevant today, the need to spend time getting exposure.
Absolutely. And I remember when you first shared that, it was just like the penny dropped. I mean, unwittingly or unknowingly, I've been doing that, particularly in the early part of my career. And it's so true. You have to put yourself forward. You have to put yourself in projects that you don't belong in. But, you know, just make sure that you get recognized, you get seen. And, you know, that's definitely the way to grow, for sure. I guess it's sometimes that old saying or the old adage is like who you know, right?
Yeah, totally who you know. And then I think it's also now, you know, with more of us knowing this, it's how you pull people through, you know, the ranks as well. So I love nothing more than celebrating my team, you know, my number twos and whatever. I, you know, enjoy nurturing them and will always put them forward to shine. And I think that, you know, is a very interesting concept about what sort of leader are you and your security as you're a leader. Are you secure enough to let these other people shine because you need to help them get exposure?
100%. And this is the way that we'll grow and champion women, especially, you know, how do you make sure that you are the type of leader who's willing and open to, you know, developing this other talent that's all around you, really. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Yes, thank you. So I have always wanted the opportunity to work on a variety of different projects. And so after being 25 years in the corporate world, I have set up my own independent consultancy, which is about helping people increase profitability. You know, my strength is helping people make more money, you know, which is all about this engine of sales, marketing, and revenue. So I've set up a company called Commercial Acceleration, and yeah, just really enjoying being able to go to, you know, meet many people all the time and have just a passion for spotting potential and helping close gaps.
Yeah, and it's I've been watching some of your videos on LinkedIn, and it's just been really interesting to kind of see how you've been going out, talking to everybody, and kind of seeing how people are coming out of this pandemic and what innovation they're doing or how they're looking at their businesses differently as well. How are you looking at things differently now during this pandemic? Like if you look at a situation, what are some of the things that are coming to your mind?
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's always about creative ways of making commerce, you know, creative ways of making ancillary revenue. So yes, I mean, I know all the sort of best practice if you like, but what I'm loving is looking, you know, on the front line of all these different industries to see new ways that people have embraced the new changes from the new normal and adapted their business model. So yeah, I mean, we all know about digital transformation, and this has been coming for a while. You know, just seeing, I'm always looking at the whole entire customer experience. And yeah, I mean, I'll order anywhere I go, from, you know, awareness to consideration, purchase, service, loyalty. Has everyone got it going seamlessly across that? And I mean, I'm going to do a video today, you might like it, because I'm actually going to show a bucket with water all coming out of it, and soak myself. And it's this concept I see a lot called the leaky bucket, which people, you know, get to understand easily, which is, you know, now assessing your business across the whole experience. Where are the moments that you're losing customers? And I think now people are being thrust into this new world. Some people are ready, but, you know, I think myself is either I'm visiting them on site. But whether I'm doing that or I'm doing research on just an online product, you're really in the customer's shoes, experiencing how is their level of efficiency. Is it easy to do business with? Have they got any personalization? Where am I dropping off? And so that's what I'm loving exploring at the moment, is just this holistic thing of where people are adapting and coming up with innovative ways to keep the customers sticky and drive them down the funnel, and do it in a very human way.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And yeah, it's that seamlessness, or like just making sure that you're listening and you're hearing and you're reaching out to them in a way that makes sense as well. And being human. Exactly. Like, we can't all be, I mean, this is the moment to be the most human we possibly can be, because there's never been a time that we're more in touch with our surrounding, our environments, and being more of part of a community as well, which has been good as well.
Yeah.
And so one thing I was just thinking as we were talking now is that, as you grew within your career, was that sort of, you did that stint in Royal Mail because you wanted to go down that route of like understanding the customer and going with and working with the experts. Was it experience like that really helped you kind of develop yourself along the way, or did you actually go and take some additional learnings, courses, trainings, whatever that may look like, or was it really more through the work experience that you developed? And this is probably more focusing on the performance side of things rather than the so more the technical skills rather than the what we call exposure skills.
Yeah, so I mean, I am a total technical geek. So I am someone that, totally has to know an area. We've talked before about things like imposter syndrome, whatever. My way of being very confident, and if you meet me in a work setting, I'm confident, I'm competent, is because I know I've worked my ass off, totally get an area. And if I don't, I can go and learn it. So yes, to your point, is being exposed to that Royal Mail consumer insight brilliance, was you're learning all these brilliant ways of doing customer research, whether that's qualitative or the latest quantitative conjoint analysis. And then you're, going home at night and supplementing it with learning more of the academic side. I mean, I'm always on courses. I'm such an advocate of just constantly learning. I mean, if I could just pause time every day for 5 hours and learn, I would be. It's ridiculous that you can always improve your game. I love humble people who will just, have an awareness of that. So yeah, I mean, I've recently done digital marketing courses just to, experience that. I've done leadership courses on authentic leadership because I wanted to have more of that authentic. I'm always looking at things. I'm looking at an asset management course at the moment, So yeah, I think it's just making that time to get the experience technically. But yeah, I think there's nothing like actually just getting your hands deep and doing the job. I've always just been like doing the job, but I just think it helps to look at best practices and theory just to boost it.
No, absolutely. And I've always this always reminds me of the medical community, right? Like, they constantly have to be learning and updating, new technologies coming out, new medicines coming out, new research is coming out. Like, it's a lifelong educational career. Like, and if you don't stay up to date, it's almost, you could lose your license, or you can lose your ability to practice medicine, things like that. So in our industry, it's not as strict, but I think continuing to learn is absolutely vitally important, and stay on top of it, right? Like, digital marketing when I was in school didn't even exist. So of course, a lot of it I've learned along the way, but it definitely helps when I take some time to do some reading or doing some supplementary something or the other, and making the time for it.
Yeah, totally. I'd say two things about what you've just said. One is I also wrote my own book recently, called The Profitability Playbook, just to also get my own knowledge down there for this masterclass I've been running, which was a great way of, I think, imparting my best tips and tricks to people. But yeah, on your second thing about the medical analogy, which I love. I mean, one of my hero products is called Profit Max, where it is all about analyzing, but then diagnosing, like, what is the gaps here? What are the issues, whether it's price, place, people, or promotion? And so, yeah, my strength is in quick diagnosis. It's like a doctor. You just need to be able to get to the root of it. And to do that quickness, takes years of just being on top of your game and constantly learning, like you say. But for the value in the client, and the doctor, it's just getting to it, knowing it's, the latest on point, and then being able to, for them, they would be putting whatever treatments or course to help you get better. For me, it'd be help you get better through different commercial solutions and applications.
No, absolutely. And I could definitely keep talking to you and keep asking you questions. But I think I will bring it to a slow close and ask you my final question, which would be, who inspires you?
Yes. Many I could say. I would like to just say two people, though. This is Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama. Now, I choose them. I know they're celebrity as well, but I think they both display great examples of emotional intelligence, empowering women, and also modesty. They ooze a charisma that is not some ego, aggressive, examples that we see how not to be like a leader. They're just, naturally charismatic, curious about people, and very intelligent, obviously technically, but emotionally as well. So yeah, I always am watching what they're up to and how they reach out to people and develop themselves and develop others.
Yeah, they're definitely two very inspirational women that a lot of us can look up to, can aspire to, and yeah, be inspired by as well.
Yeah, I think if you could interview them next week.
Sure. On my bucket list.
Come on, this is the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need to become our next Oprah or our next Michelle Obama. We need to get you up there too.
I'd love it. Yeah, bring it on. That was always my dream when I was a child, become some sort of chat show host. So we'll see now. I do a little bit with my my news reporting, but yes. Well, I said I think it's amazing what this is doing, inspiring others with stories and just sharing the goodness and being each other's champions. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat. Would love to chat to you all day. Like I said, anyone else that wants to chat, let's have a latte.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been so great. And yes, you have, in the course of the last half hour, you've definitely inspired me even more than you already did the first time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Virtual hug. Yeah. High five, whatever.
Hopefully in person soon.
Yes. No, well, thank you, Naureen. Anytime. Watch this space. Yeah.
Thank you, Ellie.